So I get a letter from Ken in New York City. Obviously not going to tell you his last name because I don't want anything to happen to Ken. But here's what Ken writes to me, quote, "What about the rhetoric from Trump and MAGA? Trump and MAGA are just as responsible for all the chaos we have in politics. Please tell Bill O'Reilly if he is truly to be fair and express the opinion for both political parties, he should read my email," unquote. Okay. No problem reading your email, Ken. And whether I'm fair or not is up to you. But I'll tell you this. The whataboutism is ridiculous, Ken. It really is. You can do that for every story in the world. Well, what about you can always find somebody worse or who said something. Nothing comes of whataboutism. It is lazy. It is fifth grade. Oh, he did better. Okay, let's knock that out. What about? Let's deal with the problem at hand. Now, you believe, Ken, that the Trump administration and the people who support it are just as responsible for vitriolic rhetoric as the progressive left. Apparently, that's what you are believing. That's fine with me. You're an American, you believe what you want to believe. But I'm going to make a case to you now that is you cannot refute, all right, about how wrong you are as far as the spread of hatred, verbal hatred. Okay. Now, surely, Ken, you know, and every other person who owns a television set knows, there are 5 major corporate networks allied with the Democratic Party and progressive movement in America. 5. ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MS. 5. Allied with the traditional conservative movement is Fox News Channel. And Newsmax, but Newsmax's audience isn't at the level yet to come close to the others. Okay. So the messaging that the far left progressive movement puts out, as well as the Democratic Party, gets vastly heard more than the traditional message, just by the nature of the communication through the television news agencies. And it's the same thing on social media. It's about 5-to-1 liberal to conservative sites. So any kind of hatred is amplified in a much greater level on the progressive left. Again, you can't refute it. It's absolutely true. So to say, no, they both do it. Well, there are loons in both parties or extremists, but on the right, you don't have nearly the megaphone. Not even close. And the money factor that drives these social media operations from the progressive point of view is in the billions, with a B. Billions of dollars pouring into the Media Matters and all these other places. Right doesn't have that. Okay, that's number one. Cold and flu season coming on up. We all know it. And it really is nothing to take lightly. So when people start getting sick all across the country, medications disappear. Everybody wants it at the same time. So it's very, very smart to have a pharmacy you can count on, like All Family Pharmacy. Right now, they're helping Americans get ahead of the curve with 10% off antibiotics, antivirals, other essentials. You know how important it is to have the right meds when you get sick, particularly when your kids get sick. You don't want to be going into the doctor's office, spending all the time. You want to have them at your home. So if you have a few months' supply, you don't have to worry. And that's what we're doing here. If you believe in medical freedom, okay, and taking care of your family, as I do, this is the pharmacy for you. Please go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Bill. Use code BILL10 to save 10%. Number two, the progressive movement in America wants to overhaul or overthrow, in some cases, the entire American system. They don't like capitalism. They don't want laws enforced. They don't like religion. They want to overthrow it all. It's like the Revolutionary War. The rabid people, the loudest voices, were the patriots who wanted to throw the king out. They got all the attention. They were the rabble rousers. Okay? Because the other people, 50% of them back then, wanted to stay with the king. But they didn't say much or they'd be tarred and feathered. Now, the progressive movement is the rebellion. So they're 10 times as loud as the so-called silent majority. And again, it's picked up and amplified by a very sympathetic national media. You see? See where we're going here? So if you are an unstable, mentally ill person and you live in the progressive world, you are constantly agitated. That's what happened to Utah. This kid was in the dark precincts. Agitation, agitation, agitation. And boom, he splits, he breaks. Same thing with the kid in Butler. Okay, who tried to kill President Trump. All right, now everything I have said in the last 7 minutes and 49 seconds is true. No what about, none of this, none of that. Solid rock truth. So Ken, do you get it now? Are you getting it? That the hatred is driven. It's not unique to the progressive left. There is plenty of hatred on the crank right, but they don't have the ability to get it out there. And that's the memo.